and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Talking Balaclava. Today we're going over my AK setups. Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Talking Balaclava. Today we're going over my AK setups. I want to do this video for a while now, and I figured, hey, why not? Welcome to the channel. I can do whatever I want on my channel. So we're going over my particular AK setups, and I wanted to do this from most simplistic to kind of as advanced as you can go, really, with a rifle setup, essentially, from there. So. Gentlemen, I know you're on the toilet. I know you're watching this, drinking your coffee, eating your beer, but hey, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the algorithm god, the god of the flat range. Leave that comment, gentlemen. I love reading them when I'm on the toilet, so it's like that we're connected. Before we dive into the video, we're gonna talk about my gear. So gear is gonna be the Strategic Thorax. It's got the triple mag placard on here as long as the spare placard. Did the axle cummerbunds because I like the tubes and it feels really good. On the back, we got the flat pack, and then I have a Roll 1 by Forward Observations group, as well as a Haley Strategic IFAC over here. And then I'm just rocking a simple radio. Baofeng is a placeholder. I'd always say get a better radio if you can afford it, of course, because Baofengs aren't the best. But okay, gear out of the way, and then we're walking a Gorka from Gray Shop, so big thanks to Gray Shop for sending that Gorka. Okay, now diving into the guns. So these guns, these AKs are pretty slick, and I've become a big fan of AKs. Whenever I talk about AKs on the channel, usually how it starts is, well, okay, so whenever I talk about AKs on the channel, I would like to give the disclaimer of, my background. I'm no AK expert. I'm no, pro AK builder like Jim Fuller. I'm just a simple guy who enjoys simple guns, right? I'm like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. Now, so one of the reasons I got into the Kalashnikov platform was, it was that time period when 5.56 had kind of skyrocketed through the roof in price, and I still wanted to go shoot, still want to go to the flat range with the boys, and I figured why not break the bank when 7.62x39 is affordable, as well as Kalashnikov parts kits. So picked up an AK, got it built out, and now I have 3. Gentlemen, guns are cool. Building guns is cooler. Working on guns, it's in the cool range. Now, to do this and become a pro, there's this thing called the Sonoran Desert Institute. They're actually out of Tempe. It's an online course that you can do where you can get your education on working on firearms. So head on over there, go be a gunsmith, help me out with my future projects, because Lord knows I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So go hit up SDI. All right, so let's talk about the base AK setup, all right? Now, the base AK setup, nothing too crazy, right? It's literally a flashlight and iron sights. Well, why is this worthy of showing off on camera? Well, it's the principle behind it, because essentially the thought process is, and it is missing one very important thing, but the thought process is that your rifle platform at a bare minimum needs a sling and it needs a weapon light. So the 74 has a sling on it right now, and I can of course take it off and throw it on this guy, but essentially that's the principal concept, is that your rifle is incomplete without a sling and a weapon light. So if you take anything else away from this video, if you're a new gun guy, if you're just getting into firearms, somehow you stumbled upon, you know, this weird niche internet content, sling and weapon light, okay? That's all I can preach to you. Take away that from the Sermon on the Mount and you should be good to go. But we will get into more intricate setups here in a second. Now, this is a Surefire G2X. Ooh. It's walking out a little bit on me from the recoil, so I have to tighten it down and use some Loctite. But it's attached to a Weaver mount. Now, I recently got some BM1 mounts from RS Regulate, which I'll show off here in a second, but the Weaver mount's another option for attaching stuff to a barrel. Now, this allows me to have a better attachment as opposed to, say, tape, which is gonna be the cheapest, most hastily way to attach a weapon light to your firearm. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No, absolutely not. You can, I mean, if you look back in the 90s, Delta guys were attaching their Surefire 660s with tape. I'm hoping they had some other level of retention underneath there, but if that's all they had, that's all they had, right? They made it work and they were doing the Lord's work with that. So essentially what we have here is the option to identify targets in the dark, right? If your only gun for self-defense is an AK or an AR and all you have is a weapon light, at least you can still identify bad guys in the dark and you don't accidentally smoke your grandma, right? So that's kind of the principle behind that. And then a sling allows you to retain the weapon to you and keep your hands free for handling stuff and things upon your person and kit. Slings are very self-explanatory. So I always encourage anyone getting into guns, hey, invest in a sling. They're not expensive. You can get slings for relatively cheap. If you're really dirt poor and you're balling on your budget, hey, guess what? A strap from like a gym bag is going to be a sling for you. But that's essentially the setup for this. Very simple. If you're like wondering, hey, what's up with that weird paint marks on it? This used to be my Rhodesian AK. I recently stripped all the paint off of it because it was kind of redundancy. I had the Rhodesian FAL and I had different plans for this and I'm thinking about doing some stuff with it. So as it sits right now, I still love it. Still one of my favorite guns. You know what I mean? Well, I may just say that maybe all of my guns are some of my favorite guns. It's like a parent. You can't choose which kids you love. If I have any ideas or thoughts, well, hold on. I guess we'll come back to it. I'm already coming back to it. So, Ranger bands to retain the weapon light. So a nice follower of mine sent me the tape switch. I like to try and get my weapon lights on the right side of the barrel, me being a right-handed shooter. So if I'm pieing off of cover, I'm not necessarily splashing the cover and it gives me more space to work with as opposed to me having to pie out more of cover. If it was on the left side, I'd have to pie out even more, right? I guess I just try and show you what I'm talking about, okay? Not just talk about it. And then for the lulls, I put some grip tape on there because I think when I got this, it was around that Modern Warfare time and I was just having a good time with Call of Duty. That's some real zoomer energy. Now we're gonna move on to my Space AK. Now, this AK has been on the channel for a while. It's made its featurette in multiple videos and I love this AK dearly. It is a work of art, so we'll talk about it real quick. So on here, we have that RS Regulate BM1 mount. These are freaking bomb-proof, awesome for mounting stuff to an AK barrel. Now, I haven't mounted anything to a 74 barrel, so this is just gonna be the AKM1. Can you? I haven't tried it yet, so I can't tell you if you can or not. But there's gonna be attached to a Weaver mount and then a Mod Light PLVH2 head on here. If you're wondering what's up with my dong, it's gonna be a Warsaw Woodco dong. Now, this has been retrofitted out to be really cool and slick. It's got a shark fin, nice cuts in it. Overall, very aesthetically pleasing because looking cool is half the battle. Well, it's actually most of what LARPers do on the flat range, right? So we got the Executive Outcomes logo on there, ripped my old channel, props to Ethan Barlow. And then we got the offset on an Arasaka mount, the Hollow Sun red dot, and then we have a Strike Eagle 1-6 LPVO on an Arrow mount, and then we have the RS Regulate side rail, MCX style Sig Sauer stock. Now this thing is a bad mamma jamma. Now, of course, I do have the old T-Mac gas tube on here, so you can mount more stuff to it. Now, if you're wondering, hey, what's going on with this gun? This isn't like how I'm used to seeing it. Well, the stock has been replaced on it for now. It's on loan to me from a buddy of mine, and then is no Hurst 4, and then different light setup is essentially it. So basically what I wanted to do was, I wanted this to be like an AR setup, but for LPVO style, but on a 7.62x39 gun. So far, it doesn't feel great to run, shocker, right? Especially with this SIG MCX stock. Might not try different things if we have the means to do so? So the idea is you have your LPVO, of course, and then for getting rapid acquisition on target in case you had to, you have the red dot offset. Now, people wonder, hey, why do you do a red dot offset? And I do like talking about this. It's something that I like to do personally, is having the offset red dot, and you see it rise in prevalence. I know that there were some school of thoughts that said, hey, if you have the LPVO, maybe offset irons, you don't really have to. The LPVO never really dies, so you always have an optic. There's not going to be many situations where you could be engaging, someone out to distance, and all of a sudden someone pops up right in front of you, you have to use your red dot. It's not necessarily the case. It's more so, hey, if you're clearing a room or you're doing something like that, I don't want to have to be, relying on looking through a shadow box to acquire, my sight picture. I mean, if I had to, I can use my red dot as guidance. I mean, if someone's like point blank for me, I'm not aiming, of course, but outside of that certain distance, like when you want to start aiming, at your discretion, right? It's your gunfight. I can't tell you what to do. You have the gun and you're fighting. Right? I can't stop you. It'll be over in no time. So that's kind of the thought process behind that. I like personally having the offset red dot, so is what it is. Nothing too crazy. This gun served me well. It keeps chugging along, and I love playing with it, of course, and it has such a good raw aesthetic like all AKs do. Now, let's jump into the Zenitco 74 built by Jim Fuller. Now, this has recently made an appearance in the Larp News Network documentary. I saw that. I thought they did a really good job. Very impressed with their journalism and being down to earth with how they report. Now, this is now probably my favorite AK, if I'm being honest. I can't get over how fun 545 is to shoot, and I've dumped some money into this to make it more enjoyable. So I got the ALG trigger in here, so for a better trigger response. Now, my buddy Mojo, he always says, hey, you don't need, fancy triggers to shoot fast. And that's absolutely true, but damn, does it make it more fun, and a good trigger doesn't hurt. So of course we have the Surefire M300 on here. I'm not dead set on this light, it's just an option, and then the Zenitco Purst 4, along with an EUTech EXPS 3, and then the Zenitco furniture. Now this is like, I've been wary if I should say this or not, but it kind of reminds me of like the Mark 18 of AKs. So the reason this gun is last is kind of the most advanced, right, caliber wise, as well as attachments. Where it kind of sets it apart from the rest is that IR laser. Now of course we can get into the nitty gritty of optics of red dots versus LPVOs, in the case of that guy. This is kind of like the most modern-esque setup. If you're integrating night vision, you're integrating weapon lights, your lasers, your red dots, all that stuff, right? It's also gonna be the most expensive setup because, I had the kit, which thankfully Apex supplied for free, full disclosure, but then I paid Jim Fuller to build it, and then I bought the Zenitco furniture, and then all the attachments I paid for myself, and then all the internal, ARP upgrades that I paid for myself. So it comes out to a thicker price tag. And now, opposed to, say, just a simplistic AK, such as this bad boy, as the old roadie AK, it's way cheaper. Literally, what else you're paying for is gonna be like a sling, ammo, and then your weapon light setup. Now, the G2X, the reason I want the G2X is that I think the G2X is probably one of the best affordable lights from Surefire on the market. Gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the algorithm god, a god of which who enjoys the AK platform. If you want to support the channel, of course, Patreon is an excellent way to support the channel. I got a Discord going in the Patreon, so we should be getting some video games here going soon together. A little hold fast with the World War I update. Anyway, I digress. Merchandise is also an excellent way to support the channel, so as always, stay easy, stay breezy. I'll catch you all on the flip. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. Jenny, where are you, girl? SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. Oh shit. All right. Oh my God, he's